This is Hanging with Hayes, the podcast where real life takes center stage. I'm your host, Chelsea, wife, virtual assistant, photographer, dog mom, and entrepreneur. Join me as I dive into the everyday experiences that shape our lives, relationships, and everything in between. Remember, these are my personal opinions, so take them with a grain of salt. Get ready for candid conversations and genuine insights. Welcome to Hanging with Hayes.
Hi, Liz. Thanks for coming on my podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chelsea. It's fun to be here.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of introduce you. You reached out to me a couple weeks ago and wanted to yap with me. And I think it's really cool that you are the first person that I've had on here that isn't like in the blue collar industry, and you have something different to offer and something different we can talk about. I am a photographer myself. I've been a photographer for 14 years. So it's really exciting to talk to another fellow photographer too. So I do want to give you the floor and kind of explain how you got into boudoir photography, and we can go from there.
Well, thanks for having me. It's really fun to be here. I'm Liz, and I run the Chicago Boudoir Photography Studio. And boudoir is just a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. But what I do as a boudoir photographer is I have created a safe space for women to come take sexy, sensual photos and to feel confident and empowered in their own skin. I've been doing this full time since 2018. I've photographed almost 2,000 women,
That's
and I
awesome.
love seeing how boudoir can be like an opportunity for women to step outside their comfort zone and really celebrate themselves.
hmm hmm So, what's your take on boudoir as it mattering in like today's culture? I know a lot of people think of it as, ooh, that's so naughty, and it's not normal. What's your
Mhm.
take on that?
Yeah, it's definitely a little naughty, right? It's definitely a little bit taboo, right? It's taboo for women to show their bodies, to document their bodies, to celebrate themselves, right? I think as a society, a lot of us, when we were young girls and through teenagehood, we were socialized to believe that there was something wrong with our bodies, to believe that good girls, and I'm putting good girls in quotes, like good girls don't do things like take boudoir photos. Good girls don't explore and celebrate their sexuality, right? And so there are a lot of taboos and, discomfort around what I do. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do, because I believe that women deserve to have a space where they can celebrate themselves, where they can not hate their bodies, where they can love their bodies. And boudoir is for every woman. It's for all sizes, all shapes, all colors. One of the things I want to do with boudoir is to break down the idea that there's just a very narrow idea of what beauty is, which is usually defined as young and thin, right? And
Mhm.
I just don't believe that. I think that beauty comes in lots of sizes, shapes, and ages.
I agree, very much so. Yeah, I've done 4 boudoir shoots myself, and
Nice.
I did it all at different stages. I did it when I was my heaviest weight. I've done it when I 75 pounds lighter, and I loved every single bit of it, and my husband loved it, and it's very a lot of women do it for their husbands or boyfriends, whatever. But then when you're in the midst of that, it's like, no, that's for you. You don't realize how much that's truly for you. And I can attest as someone who's taken boudoir and been involved in it myself, both sides of the camera. I agree with you big time because a lot of people think that, you know, you have to be stick thin. You don't. You absolutely don't. There's something so empowering about taking photographs like that and documenting it, because also think about it when you're 100 years old. I mean, if you make it to that age, think about how badass you're going to feel. Like, I looked like that. Like, look at that. That is
Exactly.
amazing. And I've seen women in their 80s do boudoir, and it is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Just
you
seeing
touch
that.
You touched on something really important, which is to look back on the photos, right? So you're going to have a fun time doing the photos now. You're going to create a gift, maybe for a partner, or it's just for you. But then pictures become more valuable as they age, right? Think about that, like looking back on baby photos or old wedding photos, right? So take those photos now and imagine what you will think about having those in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They will become even more valuable to you as the years go by.
Absolutely. It is so, that is so true. Just, I mean, even looking back at the ones that I did when my husband and it was our 1 year wedding anniversary. We got married in 2018 and I was almost at my heaviest and I did it. And I think I did 2 that year actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But looking back on those photos, I'm still so proud of my body in that. And he cried when I gave them to him because I do have, this is gonna get deep, but I had a lot of really bad trauma with different partners that I had before him, and they involved sexual trauma. And so I never gave my husband anything like that. I never gave him pictures of myself because that trauma was involved with photographs. So it was more of a holy shit, you trust me and you feel confident and like you feel safe with me. That was such an eye opening experience that I never really realized how deep that gift really truly was. And thinking about it and the fact that as a boudoir photographer, I'm sure you can attest to this, you can see how someone's power comes out when you're in those situations and the feeling of like a lot of people are so nervous when they start doing these photos. And at the end of it, they are like completely different because they're, you know, they feel good about themselves. I don't know. It was a really, really, really neat gift that I gave him. And still to this day, I remember exactly where I was sitting when I gave him those photos, and he just looked at me like, "Are you serious right now?" Like, I it was amazing, and we'd been together for, like, 6 years at this point, so it was a lot.
Yeah, part of the gift is the photos, and then part of the gift is also that you went to do the photos, right? There's like the act of doing it as well as part of the gift. And I love when women come in to do this and they have a partner, I love when they recognize that yes, it's a gift for their partner, but there's also a part of this that is really just for them.
Mhm.
It's a time for them, like you said, maybe you're nervous, maybe you've never done something like this before, but
Yep.
it's a time for you to just really explore, to be a queen for the day.
Mhm. Yeah, get your makeup done, your hair done, find something that makes you feel sexy. That's the other thing. I think a lot of people think you have to do this in lingerie. You don't. You don't have to do that. You can do it in a sweater. I know a lot of people that have done it in a sweater or a sheet and it looked great. You don't have to do it that way if that's not what you're confident with. I know I've done a few people that were super insecure and I'm like, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you bring me a fluffy sweater, we'll make you feel like a damn queen. And they are all like, okay, and it always turns out great. So, yeah, you're right, very much so. It's so empowering to see. It's like a little light bulb, I think. Seeing women realize, like, how badass they truly are when they're getting photos like that, and it's really, really cool to see.
And there's something I believe that, like, when women start loving themselves and seeing themselves as powerful, that's when you can show up and love other people and change the world too, right?
Huh?
So, yes, it's just a photo shoot, but when women love themselves and show up and claim that power, that's when we move mountains, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when you feel good in your body, you're gonna feel good in every other part of your life, it's kind of like discipline in so many different things in your life, you really do show up, like you said, it's fascinating. So, what inspired you to specialize in boudoir, or did it start out with boudoir, or did you start in a different area?
Yeah, so I was a photographer doing weddings, portraits, babies, families, kind of like the quote unquote normal kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I decided to sign up for a boudoir photo shoot for myself. And I was really nervous. I'd never done anything like this before. This was about a decade ago. And when I did that, I had, and I'm not exaggerating, I had like a transformational experience. Like I
I
walked
believe
into
it.
that. Yeah, I walked into that photo shoot like really nervous, and I walked out of it like ready to show up in my life in bigger and better ways.
Mhm.
And because of that experience, I wanted other women to feel that and experience that as well. So in 2018, I opened up my own boudoir boutique. It was a big leap for me. I'd never owned my own business before. I'd never had a storefront before, but I was really passionate about this and really wanted to help women and be there with women in their moment when they were having this experience. And so I was really, the first year and a half that I opened my studio, I didn't make a lot of money. I wasn't turning a profit, but I kept at it and I learned more about marketing and have been really lucky to continue to do this as, my job for the last 8 years.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, and that's so scary, like, jumping into something like that. I mean, I quit my job January of last year to launch my own virtual assistant business, and I was scared shitless, so I understand that feeling. It is like, "Oh my god, I'm jumping out of a perfectly good plane." That is, like, the scariest feeling ever, but I really think, like, just being consistent with something, no matter what it is, I really think that, you know, overcoming those obstacles of, we are our own worst critic always, and realizing that this will work. People need this kind of thing in their life, and it is a really, really cool feeling.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, starting a business, starting a new venture, like it's a risk, right? And I think a lot of women, many women are sort of socialized to avoid risk. And I get that, right? Like we need to care for, our babies or our spouse or whatever. And so we are really risk avoidant. And I know I was and still am like scared of risk. And at the same time, sometimes life requires us to take a step into the dark, to take a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a lot out there that women I feel like could experience, could take advantage of, could do if we weren't quite so scared of failure.
Oh my god, yeah, and I really feel, I mean, you think about it, how are diamonds made? They're under pressure, so, like, I don't think a lot of people take that leap, like you said, just because they're afraid of failure, but failing is okay because that's where you grow. You don't grow in your comfort zone either. And my husband was the only reason, and I'm serious about this, the only reason I quit my job. I was so scared. I'm like, there is no way. And like I said, like it felt like a perfectly good plane I was jumping out of. And he looked me dead in the eye and he's like, "Do you think I would let you land?" I was like, "No, you're right. I get it." But like at the same time, that is so terrifying. But, now I'm at, almost 2 years of doing this and I'm not failing at it. So it's really cool. So it's nice to see, another person that took a risk and actually made it work because you had to.
I mean, sometimes the best things in life are on the other side of a risk, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
of course we need to be wise and not take like, you know, un
Yes.
uncalculated risks, but
Yes.
sometimes you take risks and you do fail, but if you've learned from it, it's always worth it.
Absolutely. I agree. So I do want to ask you, and I'm going to read it the way that I wrote it, just because the way that it's written is a good one. How do you navigate the line between empowerment and the male gaze, especially in relationship dynamics?
Yeah. So boudoir exists in the world that we live in, right? And the world we live in is like centered around the patriarchy and the male gaze, right? Like however you want to slice it, like we do live in a society that for generations, for years, has given more power to men than to women, right? We have more men in leadership roles, running companies, running our government, running families than we do women, right? And so boudoir does exist within that like patriarchal system, right?
Hmm.
And I think boudoir can go either way. It can play into the patriarchal stereotypes that a woman's body is meant to be consumed and fit into narrow beauty standards. But it also can, with intention, be a place where women can feel confident and empowered. And I
Mhm.
think that comes down to how the pictures are created and enjoyed. And so in my studio, I really take, it's very, I take this like responsibility very seriously. Like
Mhm.
I consider it like an honor to be there with women who want to take boudoir photos. And I work really hard to make it a space where the woman's desires are centered. What
Yep.
does she want? How does she want to be portrayed? How much skin does she want to show? What vibe are we doing in these pictures, right? And when
Mhm.
the woman's desires are centered, I think that is the key to making it a female empowered experience.
Mhm.
When she says, "This is me and this is how I want to show up and this is how I want to be seen," then that's actually exactly the opposite of what the patriarchy says, which says, I get to tell you how your body should look and how you should be seen, right?
Mhm.
So I do think boudoir can go either way.
Mhm.
And I think I strive really hard at my studio to create a feminist, female centric experience for every woman that comes in.
Mhm. As a woman who has been with her husband for 12 years, and I'm very much like my husband is the leader of my household, but we have conversations. He's not directly leading everything, every decision I ever make. I am my own person. But if you ever have a husband that straight up just says, like, I don't like this, how do you go about that? Because I know a lot of women do this as a gift, but don't tell their husband, and they know it could potentially piss him off. How do you go about that?
Well, I will say this. I have never had an unhappy husband or boyfriend with this gift.
Yeah, no.
So
No.
by the time women come in and give the album or the pictures to their husband, like I should say this. If someone's been unhappy about it, they've never told me. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, if I was on the phone with a woman and she said, I kind of want to do this, but I don't think my husband would be happy with that, I would give her some space. Of course, you don't want to come into the studio if it's going to create a problem in your
No.
relationship, right?
No.
But what I might say is, what do you think the concern is? Is the concern about price? Is the concern about the pictures being put on the internet? Is the concern about your safety while you're at the studio?
Mhm.
Because those concerns I can address, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can talk about our privacy policies. I can talk about our 100% female staff. I can talk about our pricing and our payment plan options. If it's just I have a husband who would be uncomfortable with me doing this, period, I would maybe say, girl, I don't want you to be in a situation where you're going to be uncomfortable. I would go
No.
talk to your husband about that. I would not do it as a surprise. I would ask him first if it's really going to be a problem, right? But interestingly, I just think when husbands or boyfriends or partners really understand what this is and what I do at the studio, I just haven't had anyone actually be unhappy with it when they really understand
Mhm.
what we do and
Mhm.
how we do it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I never had that either. In the few times that I've done boudoir, but it's I have had a weird request after the fact. Someone asked me to the girl wanted me to edit out every basically every pore. That's not my editing style. I want you to have a couple wrinkles by your eyes. If you have wrinkles by your eyes, they're going to be there because you smiled and that's the reason they're there. So, like,
Mhm.
that's my editing style. I like that. I like the real, I like your freckles. I don't want to get rid of your freckles. Those freckles are
Mhm.
beautiful. Well, I did
Mhm.
that. The husband reached out to me 6 months later and said, "Can you please provide me photos of my wife? Because that's not her."
Mm,
He was very upset about it. And it's like, that's what he sees. And that's
mm,
not what she sees in herself. She didn't feel beautiful in her own skin. And it's
mm,
not the images itself. It was her. And she said that to me. She's like, the images are stunning. I just don't like how I look. So that was a really one-off weird situation that I had. I didn't know how to really navigate it. I'm like, this is different, but I provided it and he was so thankful. But have you ever had anything weird like that?
So retouching is a sensitive topic, right? So retouching is basically when after we take the pictures, we do some digital manipulation. And listen, digital retouching tools are very powerful. You can remove every pore. You can take 75 pounds off someone. You can make someone look like a totally different person. Is that the point of boudoir? In my opinion, it's not, right? So what I tell everyone who comes to my studio is this. I'm gonna do most of the work in the posing, the lighting, the hair and makeup, the wardrobe, the props that we use to make you look and feel beautiful.
Mhm.
Then, when you see the photos, if there's something you want photoshopped out, maybe you have a blemish that you don't want to like have in every picture for the rest of your life, or a bruise on your arm, right? Maybe the way the fabric was folding strange by your waist. You want me to like tuck that in so it doesn't have that bulge anymore. Sure, happy to do that stuff. It's
Yep.
no extra cost in my studio. And I also want you to see the pictures without retouching at all. So the way it works at my studio is that you come in, you get your hair and makeup done, we do the photo shoot, and then right after the photo shoot, before you even leave the studio, I show you a slideshow of your pictures. I do this because, of course, it's fun to have instant gratification, but also because I want you to see the pictures without that retouching
Mhm.
and see yourself as the gorgeous, fabulous person that you are. And then if you want some retouching, I'll do it after the fact. But we do have that initial moment where you just get to see and appreciate the photos right then and there.
I love
So
that.
there is a balance. I think retouching has its place, and I'm happy to do retouching.
Yeah.
And I also think it can be misused and taken too far.
I agree. I definitely agree. I've When I first started doing photography, I was so heavy on retouching. And now the longer I've been in this, it's so much more like I want to feel what you felt in the moment. Obviously, if your hair's like cuckoo bananas crazy, I'm going to fix it. But like, I don't want to take away from that moment. And I don't think people realize as photographers, we see that. And I don't know. I get really emotional when I edit certain things, especially people's hands. Like, I had a few people and I take a lot of, like, engagement pictures of guys that are, like, in blue collar industry stuff, and I had a couple guys be like, "Please edit out, the stuff on my hands." Like, they'd have tar or, like, cuts on their hands, and I'd ask their fiancé, I'm like, "Do you really want those out?" And they're like,
It's
"Because
part of
that's
it.
a part of him." I'm like, "I know, but I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna give you one with and one without to please you both." And they were like, "Okay."
That works. That
Yeah.
works.
I don't know, it's very I don't know. I get very, very, like you said, leery about super retouching. Obviously, if you have a zit on your nose, I'm gonna get rid of it too, but like, no. If that is a part of who you are,
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, for example, I had a woman come into the studio that had a bunch of scars on her torso from so she had a heart attack when she was, like, 40 years old, she was a young mom,
oh,
and when she was in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, she actually died in the ambulance, and they brought her back to life. She ended
oh
up having, like,
my.
17 surgeries. Yeah, and on the one-year anniversary of her heart attack, she wanted to be with me in the studio to take some nude photos of herself of the scars,
Oh,
and she did not want me to Photoshop those out because she wanted to have those and celebrate those and remember that she's alive, right? Those scars mean that she's alive,
oh,
right?
you're making me cry. Oh my god.
And that's what I think boudoir is about, right? You don't have to have a heart attack to
Nope.
say, I am
No.
happy to be alive. I'm
Oh
grateful for my
my.
body, and I love my body for what it is and what it can do for me, right?
Yeah.
And that to me is like the essence of boudoir. It's not about airbrushing yourself to oblivion. It's not about fitting yourself into a box. It's
Yep.
about saying, I'm here. I'm worth it. I matter. My body allows me to do wonderful things, and I'm grateful for it.
Oh my god, that is so awesome. What a badass. Oh, that's amazing. 17 surgery? That's crazy. Oh my God. Do you think I can't stop crying. That's so cool. Um, do you think there's room for modesty in boudoir?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So I would say, depending on how you define modesty, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
modesty is like hemlines and does it have sleeves or does it cover your knees? I mean, how much skin you show in boudoir is always up to you, right?
Mhm.
You never
Yep.
show more skin than you want to.
Correct.
And I would say if modesty is about there is something wrong with my body, so I need to cover it. I have shame about my body, so I need to wear more clothing. Then that is what boudoir is trying to like help you out of, right?
Yep. Yep.
So mm, if modesty is like, I choose to wear these clothes because this is how I want to be and how I want to present myself, fine. Then we're here for it. If
Yep.
your idea of modesty is, my body is broken and wrong and dirty, and so it should be covered and hidden at all times, then boudoir says, shed that idea. Your
Mhm.
body is perfect. It was made perfectly and it is serving you and is allowing you to experience this world. And there is nothing wrong with it. And
Yep.
it can be documented and celebrated.
I
Now,
agree.
do you have to show these pictures to everyone you know and put them on the internet and show them to your boss and your mother-in-law? Like,
Your
absolutely
boss.
not, right? There can be modesty in who sees, the access to your body and the photos, of course,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes.
there is still, like, a time and a place and an audience for who is allowed access to your body and pictures of your body, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, I'm not saying that modesty means you have to show these pictures to everyone, right? But it does say it's okay to take the photos, and your body can be a work of art that can be enjoyed by you and whoever you choose to share it with.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like I've done many of them and I'm not putting them all over the internet. Like that's for my view and my husband's view only and that's it. Like that's no. Yeah,
Yeah.
that bothers me when people think like, "Oh, are these going to go all over the internet?" It's like, "No, there's a privacy policy for a reason."
Yes. Absolutely. And that's part of the female empowerment. You get to choose who sees these pictures. That's up to you.
Mhm.
You control the narrative. You control the photos.
Yep. Do you ever have husband and wife like duos that want to take pictures together?
Yeah, couples boudoir. So I have done couples boudoir in the past. I don't offer that anymore just because I'm trying to create a really female centric, female only
Mhm.
experience. I don't offer that anymore, but there are definitely boudoir photographers in the area that do couples boudoir. If you're interested in it, I'd be happy to refer you to them. I think it's a great, fun idea. You should totally do it.
I've thought about doing it with my husband and the more I'm just I don't know. I don't know if he'd be down for it. I would, but I know I'm not going to sit here and be like, "You have to do this." you know? I don't
Yeah.
know. He's a very private person when it comes to that and I get it. But at the same time, I take pictures with him every single year on our anniversary. We've taken photos since we started dating. I've made him do that, which that sounds bad, but I mean, I have. Actually, this Sunday is our 12-year anniversary
Oh,
photos.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I've always thought, we started taking these at like month 6, I think. Not even month 6. I think it was like month 4. I was
Cute.
like, "Well, you're it." So, and ever since then, we've just taken them. And I'm like, when we're 100, there I go with a 100-year-old. He says he's not going to live that long. I think he will. He'll be like, we'll look back on these and be like, look how cute we were. You know?
Totally.
It's like, come on. What is what are your thoughts on AI photo editing?
Okay, isn't artificial intelligence so fascinating? I mean, I feel like a year ago we weren't even talking about it, and
Nope.
then now it is just everywhere, and it's
It
taking
is.
people's jobs, and it's embedded in Google, and every time you open up any kind of an app, it's like AI assistant here to help. I mean, it just the s- the speed at which AI has entered our life is just, to me, like, kind of remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember in the 90s when the internet showed up, at least my experience of it was that it was like it happened slowly. Like, first we had like a little AOL thing, and then
Yes.
and then there's a chat, and then we got email, and then we got smartphones, but AI has been a completely different experience for me in that it
I
just
agree.
feels like a tsunami has showed up all at once. And
Yep.
there are, of course, AI tools that allow you to digitally manipulate photos.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this can be used well or it can be misused. So there are some AI photo editing tools out there that really can speed up what photographers want to do already. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to do blemish removal or something like that, what you could sit and do by hand, now the AI can do it for you with
Yeah.
the same like outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also AI tools that can make you, it could make you look into it like a mermaid, or,
Yeah.
put you on a top of a
Those
mountain and
crack
on
me up.
a
I'm like,
horse. Right.
how?
Right. So, I mean, listen, I think AI can be fun. I think it
Mm-hmm.
can be helpful. I think it can also be destructive. It is
I
like a
agree.
hammer, right? You can
I
take a
agree.
hammer and build a house. You can take a hammer and like smash beautiful stained glass windows in a church,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yep.
it's a tool. It can be used well. It can also be misused. I
Right.
will say this. I think AI will never really truly replace the experience of human to human interaction, right? So me as a photographer, being there with someone, being there,
Yep.
getting their hair and makeup done. Could AI create a photo of you that looked like you had your makeup done and had a boudoir photo taken? Sure, of course it can.
Yeah.
But because boudoir is more than the photos, I don't think it's going to replace that human experience of being together in the studio. But we will see. AI is just moving quickly. Things are
I know.
changing. I just think even in, a few years, my kids will have tools and opportunities that we've never had. So we're going to keep an eye on this.
I know. I just started. Well, it's probably been a year. Probably a year of me using, AI for blemishes and things like that, or taking out like buildings and things. And I'm like, it's pretty badass.
Exactly, right? It's like it's allowing you to do what were doing before, but just so much faster and easier.
So much faster. Oh my God. Like when I discovered it, I'm like, is this real? For real, for real. Like I was trying to get rid of a picnic table or something and it was at the beach. And it ended up putting like a trash can there, and then I'm like, "No," and it kept regenerating, and I'd tell it to do something else, and I was messing with my client. I'm like, "Watch this," and I was like, I just discovered it. So I
Yeah.
sent her a video of it, and she goes, "Tell it to put in a pavilion." I was like, "Okay." So I did. It made this entire elaborate pavilion. I'm like, "This is so crazy. I don't get it."
Yeah, it's wild.
It is. I'm like, this is so fascinating. And you're right, though, it can be destructive because I've seen a lot of people, not a lot, but I mean, I've seen some people say that they'll take someone's face and AI it onto like boudoir photos and like mess with people's jobs that way because they're exploiting them. And it's like, that's not even them. So it's scary that that is a thing too. So it's like, that is terrifying to me.
Yeah, I think we're in like a whole new world of AI that we don't understand yet, all the ramifications,
I
and
know. And
it's
it's
happening
and
quickly.
yeah, and I don't think people realize that there are ramifications for posting things like that on the internet. You will go to prison for those things. So
Yeah.
just know that. Oh my goodness. Oh, I lost my spot. Oh god. Okay. If a photographer, okay, I'm going to pretend I'm not a photographer. If I was going to enter the boudoir space as a photographer, what advice would you give me?
Well, first I'd say welcome to the club. This is a great place to be. Boudoir is so fun. It's so empowering. It's just like as an artist myself, like as a photographer myself, I just enjoy being in this space so much. I love
Mhm.
seeing women, being with women. So come join the team. We'd love to have you. Be sure that you have, some things in place that are super important before you get started. The privacy. You need to have like password protected everything. You need to have ways of delivering images and albums that are going to be secure and private. You need to make sure that you understand kind of the trust that people are putting in you to do something like this and be equipped to manage that, right?
Yep.
So take some workshops, shadow some other photographers, make sure that you are providing a safe, private experience for every single one of your clients.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. As someone who knows, but what was, in your experience, the most unexpected client request that you've had?
Okay, so when you come to my studio, you're allowed to bring any prop or accessory that you want to customize and personalize your experience, right? So women bring all kinds of fun things to be a part of their photo shoot. We have had uh, rolling pins and lightsabers.
Rolling
Um,
pins.
yes, she
I
came in
love
with like an apron and a rolling pin, right? I've
that.
had
Cute.
sports jerseys and books and ice hockey skates and someone's grandmother's diamond ring and
Aw, that's
feather
cool.
boas and hats and baseball bats and golf clubs and football
Everything else.
helmets, motorcycle helmets, right? So I even made there's a blog on my website, which I can send you the link. It's Boudoir A to Z. And I have a picture with one accessory for every letter of the alphabet that I've had in the studio. So we've just had everything and I just love it. I love personalizing photo shoots. Yeah.
So funny. What is your favorite pose to shoot?
Ooh, favorite pose. Well, I would say one of my favorite things to do is what I call a bodyscape, which is where the picture is very dark and then I light just a part of it. So you'll see just the curve of the back or just the nape of the neck. And you can almost, when you first see the picture, you're almost like, what am I looking at? Am I looking at
Uh-huh.
a mountain? Am I looking at rolling hills? And they're like, oh no, that's a body. Those are my favorite. I love those dark pictures
Uh-huh.
that just kind of imply something.
Yep.
Those are my absolute favorites.
Those are mine too. And it's very like, is this just a dark photograph? What is this? But it is so beautiful because it's like you really can't see much, but you know that there's a human being there. I love those so much. So, what would you hope that every woman walks away feeling after they leave your studio?
So I hope that every woman walks away from my studio feeling like they are worthy and valuable. When you hold a newborn baby in your arms, we know how beautiful and valuable that baby is, right? We just love that baby and we care about them so much. But yet that baby has never really achieved anything. That baby has never gotten a job, that baby hasn't gone to school, that baby's never lost weight, baby's never gotten married, right? And somewhere along the way, we have decided we get this idea that our worth or our value is decided upon things that we've done, right? Or things that we haven't done. And what I hope that women can know is that you are just as worthy and valuable today as you were the day that you were born. It doesn't matter your journey, where you've been, what you've done, what you haven't done. You are divinely made, worthy, and you are a goddess. And that's what I want you to feel when you walk out of my studio.
I love that. I love that. I feel like it's kind of impossible not to. That's just my thought. How can how can people book you or get on your books or get in touch with you?
So I'm in the Chicago area and my website is chicagoboudoir.com. Now, boudoir can be a tricky word to spell. It's BOUDOIR.com. But if you're listening to this and you're not in the Chicago area, I would still love for you to stop by because if you go to my website, thechicagoboudoir.com, I've got lots of free stuff that you can grab. I've got a free ebook. I've got some printables with daily affirmations. I've got a quiz that you can take. So stop on by. I'd love to be in touch.
I'll put all of that in the notes so people don't have to memorize what you said. So, I do want to ask you, as social media is so big when it comes to like marketing, how do you market without making people feel, like their privacy is not being, messed up or anything like that? What is the best way for you to market on social media?
Yeah, social media is a big part of running a business these days. And first off, any picture that I use on my website or in my social media that I've taken, I have explicit signed permission from the woman in the photo that I can use her pictures. So I never share any pictures without permission. So sometimes people say, well, I see all these pictures on your social media, on your Instagram, on your website. Like, I don't want mine on there. That's totally fine.
Yep.
The pictures you see, I have permission to use. And second, I am very careful in what I say and how I craft my social media, my website, to try to be very inclusive and open to your story and what you want. So
Mhm.
when you go to my website, you'll see it's not all just young, thin girls. There are all kinds of women on there.
Yep.
And many people have told me that the reason they came to my studio was because they saw someone on my website or on my Instagram that looked like them. And
Oh,
they said, "Oh, I feel like I can do this because I saw someone who looked like me on your website." And that
that's
is my
awesome.
goal, to be
That's
representative.
that is so awesome. And as somebody like I said, I did it when I was bigger and did it when I was smaller in all sizes. And, I specifically asked my photographer when she took these pictures, please do not edit out my stretch marks on my legs because like that's on my body. I don't want it to be gone. I love that. So I love that you have all shapes and sizes on your website. That is really, really cool too. Because I think you're right though. A lot of people think that they can't, or I've had a lot of people say to me, "Well, I can't do this. I have to lose 10 more pounds." Like, no, you don't. It's not necessary, but
And why is it always 10 pounds, right?
I
Like,
don't know.
what is the magic of yeah, here's what I would say. Sure, I support you on your fitness journey. I understand. I've gone through weight gain and weight loss myself. And you're beautiful now. Let's document you now. And then we'll do it again when you've lost the 10 pounds. That's fine.
Yep.
But you will never be in this place right here, right now again. And
Yep.
this time in your journey is worth documenting. And in 5 months, in 5 years, it's worth documenting then too, right? I
Yep.
mean, I have people tell me all the time, "I wish I'd done this 5 years ago." Like,
Hmm.
why not? What are you waiting for?
Yeah. And also, you think about if they're reaching out to you right now, mentally, you're ready for this. So let's do this. you know? I don't know. I just wish people had that mentality like you're beautiful now and you should document it for sure. And I know I have a lot of men that listen to my podcast, so these are for all the wives and the girlfriends, so just know that.
Hey, and men, if you're interested, book a shoot for your partner. I mean, I love it when men reach out and find out about what we do and are excited to splurge on their partner.
That is awesome. You have a lot of those?
Yeah, I have men
That's
call all the time.
awesome.
Yeah,
That is so cool. Yeah, I'll do you have like a link specifically other than your website to like book or anything like that? Or do they
sure.
just send you like
Yeah,
a
if you go to the website, there's a button that says book now, and you can
okay.
book on the website.
Okay. I'll put that in the link to or in the
Show
description.
notes.
Yes, that. Thank you. Oh my god. Well, I am gonna give you the floor. So do you have anything else you want to say? It could be anything to anybody. Go for it.
I guess the last thing that we didn't touch on that I would just like to touch on a little bit is if you're a person of faith. So I
Oh
think
yes. Yes.
I
That was on there. I forgot about that. Sorry.
I think a lot of so I myself am a person of faith. I was raised in a religious house, and
Same.
I think a lot of people find that there is a conflict between
Mhm.
faith and boudoir.
Yep.
And I get that, right? Like at first brush, it might seem like women of faith should not do a boudoir photo shoot. But I guess myself being a person of faith, and I want to say to you that I personally don't feel a conflict between faith and boudoir. I believe that there is a place for you to honor and celebrate your body that is completely in line with your values and your belief system.
Yep.
If you think about it, like most faiths of all stripes believe that humans were created in the image of God.
Yeah.
And if that's true, then there's nothing wrong or evil or dirty about your body. In fact, the body is a manifestation of God, right? And so I believe that boudoir can be compatible and integrated into a faithful life and to people who have religious values. So I just want to throw that out to you because it feels like one of my like missions in life is to sort of like open the door to the idea that the female body and religion, like they can coexist and be integrated.
Yep. I agree. And I grew up in a Christian home, and I have a relationship with God, and I fully believe that. I don't see it being this bad thing, and it's I am not taking photos and like publicly putting them all over the place and broadcasting things if that's not what I want to do, and whatever people want to do, that's fine. But I truly think that you're celebrating the body that God made. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And as somebody who has documented stuff myself, people for the last however long, I think that needs to be celebrated in different ways other than just like regular photo shoots. I think boudoir truly is such a good thing that you should do for yourself, even if it's once in your lifetime. I really think that that's an important thing. I
Absolutely. I
agree.
agree.
Is there anything you want to brush on? I don't think we missed other than what you just said.
No, thank you so much for having me. This has been a great conversation.
Yeah, I think so too. I appreciate you. But I appreciate you so much for coming on and talking to me. This has been a really good
Hey, same. This has been
conversation.
really fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Glad we got the tech figured out.
I know. Good Lord. All right. Bye.
Bye. Take care.